All right, we're here. Episode 174 GSC President's Day special.
President's Day special coming at you live.
Coming at you live. Um, so Danny, hit us up with I know you went down the rabbit hole of president and coffee quotes. Hit us with a couple.
Yeah, sure. Well, fun fact is George Washington was actually an importer of goods, and he imported like 200 pounds of coffee early on. So I think like pre-revolution, like he was a coffee importer. So that's kind of fun. And then one of my favorites is Abraham Lincoln. It was something about during the Civil War, someone like brought him. He was out of camp, like meet some soldiers, whatever, and they give him a cup of some hot dark thing. And he took a sip, and he said, and this is like the quote. He said, "If this is coffee, bring me tea, and if this is tea, bring me coffee." So whatever it was, it was hot and tasted like shit, and he just wanted another.
Whatever this is, give me the opposite.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun. And then, of course, not a huge shock here, but Teddy Roosevelt. There's
man.
Reports other people would say about him that his coffee mug was more appropriately suited as a bathtub than a cup. So
that's the least surprising thing I've heard all day.
100%. So that's a couple fun ones.
Well, the thing with the Teddy Roosevelt is just this oozing toxic masculinity.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I want so badly to believe that picture of him riding a moose in the river is real. Like, I know
is it not real? Is it AI?
Yeah, or not AI. Yeah, it was like Photoshop because it's been around a long time.
Yeah, pre-AI.
I just want it to be so real. One more fun one is actually George H.W. Bush allegedly drank 10 cups of coffee a day.
Wow!
All throughout his presidency and everything.
So that was just his water was coffee, essentially at that point, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's probably all he drank, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. There's some presidential coffee for you.
Well, there's this myth that people still, for some reason, subscribe to is that coffee dehydrates you.
It's silly.
Yeah, it's like, well, it doesn't. Like caffeine technically can dehydrate you, but you're drinking it with water. If you're taking pure caffeine powder, and maybe that could dehydrate.
Like pills, like taking no-dose pills or something.
Taking some no-dose, yeah.
Like it is a. Oh man, the word mixed pee. I lost it. Anyway, if for sure it does speed up your metabolism a little bit, which will, probably off-gas some water. Diuretic, that's the word I lost. It's for sure diuretic. Mm. However, when in a pill form, you get that. But in coffee itself, there's more water, still net positive water. And evidenced by, if you go to donate blood, before you leave, you have to drink, they make you drink 1 or 2 cups of beverage before you leave. And they have like water, juices, and coffee are always the options. So it's like they actually serve you coffee as a like hydrating fluid after you donate blood. So the fact that anybody, it's just one of those old wives' tales, kind of like don't lift weights when you're a kid, it'll stunt your growth.
Yes, I was going to say that same one. Yeah, that's a classic.
I went down the rabbit hole on that one because I knew it wasn't. Well, I was 99% sure it wasn't true, just based on like what I had heard, different things. And I said, I'm gonna do the research myself. And I like dove in and like did a deep dive on it. And what I found were precisely 0 studies that showed any sort of negative impact or stunting the growth, or that's never happened. It's just 100%. Someone said it one day, and then just like people just think it's true. It's just like caught on for whatever reason.
Yeah, that one. And there's also like, hey, don't crank hog. It'll make your Johnson smaller.
No, dude, if that was the case, you know what I mean? Have to get out the tweezers, just take a tinkle.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of hydration, I've been, okay, back up. I have a pretty standard little, I guess, vitamin stack I take every morning that I've kind of put together. And after I kind of got used to that, like, because I started, like, you can definitely feel when you get on like a new. I feel like when you get on a new vitamin kind of regimen, you can kind of feel it, and like after like a week of consistency or a couple of weeks, and you kind of just don't even feel it anymore. It's just like part of the routine. I would get
Sure.
like kind of a. So, anyways, let me step back. I take a zinc every morning. I take zinc, a magnesium, fish oil, a K2D3 combo, and what else? And a turmeric.
Four Zins,
4 Zins,
two
you
cups
know,
of coffee.
2 cups of coffee. And when I take them all at once, and like for a while, like I would take it, and I'd kind of like feel like almost like a little bit of like a high almost in a
Huh.
way. I'm like, I don't know if I can like, I don't know if I like this or not. And then like the magnesium like started
Yeah.
like taking like the kind of like uh now I get more of like the anti-anxiety effects of it now, more of like the just kind of calming effect of it now.
Sure.
But before it was kind of like my body was going overdrive. Anyways, what I'm getting at is now I'm back on creatine too. So now I've added creatine
Mm.
back in the mix. And what I'm
Hey,
doing,
I'm gonna cut you off real quick. I'm on the bottom of my screen. I see like your little voice going up and down, but I don't see mine happening at all when I'm talking.
yours is moving on mine.
Okay, never mind then. We're good. All right.
Yeah, and I hear you in my headphones.
Yeah, I hear it all too. It just on mine, it wasn't moving, and so I just if you see it moving on yours, I'm not tripping.
I see your voice
Cool
coming
voice
in.
lines. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Never mind. No worries then.
Um, so I've started mixing my hydration with the creatine now. So I do the hydration packet with the creatine, and I'm only taking the creatine like 10, 20 minutes before I work out. And days I don't work out, I'm still taking it. But most of the time, I'm taking it now right before I work out. And that's where I'm feeling the best.
What hydration supplement do you take?
Liquid IV. I take the liquid
Interesting
IV.
choice.
Well, it's because they have it at Costco. If they sold Element at Costco, I'd probably take that. You know what I mean?
You just need, yeah, you just need a gym that sells Element, and you just grab it if you need them.
Yeah. I
Uh,
do prefer the Element. I would prefer not to have the sugar, but I don't really have a high sugar diet with much fruit,
yeah,
so it's like not really like that big a deal.
yeah, I don't think it
But
is.
also, like I think it's better to have none if you
Yeah,
could,
probably.
but it's pretty small amount, so I'm not too stressed on it. Yeah, maybe Costco needs to get some kind of contract with Element. Like, where are you at? Let's get that
Yeah.
mass production.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I've done the creatine with Element with hydration, but it's funny. My wife's been doing this for a while, and I just actually finally got on her plan because I don't really take a lot of supplements. Like, funny thing is, like Fit Aid, stuff like after I do the CrossFit class, I do a Fit Aid RX, which is like it has creatine, but it has like 2 milligrams. You know what I mean? Not even really that much, like 2 grams or something, but still, might even be one. But anyway, but there's some vitamins and stuff in there, quite a bit. Like that's the whole purpose of them. But outside of that, I do collagen in my first cup of coffee. I do collagen and CBD in my first cup of coffee, and then like that's kind of it really. And then, but lately though, I've been doing every morning 1 scoop of BCAAs and 1 scoop of creatine. And my wife's been doing it for a
Is
while
it a
because there's all these
five gram, five
5 grams.
milligrams scoop?
All these studies keep coming out like about creatine and how women should be taking creatine. And for a long
Well, I
time
think
they
everybody
didn't.
should.
Yeah, for a long time there was this whole like misunderstanding that creatine is high school boys that are trying to get yoked. You know what I mean? And I think for a long time that was kind of what
For
his
sure.
main thing was. But then like more studies keep coming up. There's like the cognitive benefits and like these longevity benefits and all these different things. So uh, anyway, yeah, and specifically in females for some reason. So she's been doing it. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? Creatine's so good for people. Like, why am I not taking it? Like, we have it here. Like, I should
There's
just,
kind of been a resurgence on positive talk. I feel like lately that's gotten
yeah,
me back on board. Like I've been taking creatine on and off for 20 years. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, but now I'm like really adamant about taking it every single day. And like honestly, it's been like about a week now, and 100% already am feeling and seeing the benefits like in my workouts
yeah.
unmistakably. I'm like
Oh, dude.
I'm less sore for sure, and I just feel stronger, legit
Yeah.
stronger. I can just go like I can do more pull-ups, strict pull-ups in a
Yeah.
set already. And it's not even because I'm doing any more volume than I was. Everything just feels a little easier. I ache a little less. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep taking it.
That's right. It's kind of like the BCAAs, honestly. I don't even know if I really believe in BCAAs or not. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just like not sure. but it's it's a sugar free. It's a beverage to put the creatine in, and if there's some benefit for the BCAAs, also great. But if nothing else, it's just like a no sugar option of something
Oh, it's
that
delicious.
tastes good to mix in. Dude, I do the Max Effort also. Dude, the Max Effort lemonade, just
No, they
like
have the best. Max Effort has the best tasting BCAAs I've ever bought
oh,
for sure. I have it. I have it. I actually I didn't have any hydration, so I mixed it with the Max Effort BCAAs the other day before I worked out.
dude,
While I was doing like an intra, it
that's
was
my
great.
daily driver. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just do this on the days I go to the gym. And then it's like, even on the other days, man, like on the weekend, still in the morning, just feels good. It tastes good. Like it's not bad for you.
Oh yeah,
Um,
when I was going to like the gas station before I kind of stopped drinking out of plastic as much as I could, essentially, I would get the big gallon jug,
oh yeah,
Corey G style. Get the big gallon jug, do 2 scoops of the
right.
BCAs in the gallon jug, and I just
Oh,
drank that
dude.
every day. It was great. But that was
Oh,
when I was
hell
like
yeah.
weightlifting full time, like not full time, but you know what I mean. Like I was training weightlifting 3 4 hours
Yeah.
a day. I would and I was drinking. I was really consistent with the BCAAs then, and yeah, throw it in that gallon jug, and just carried it around all day, threw it away, bought them
I'll
one in
tell
the
you
morning.
what's I'll tell you what's great about Max Effort Muscle stuff also is it's clean because they're getting into colleges and high schools and stuff, and so they got the NSF, which the NSF certification is like so hard to do. Like it's fucking expensive. And you have to do it like per SKU, and it's like tens of thousands of dollars. It's like 20 grand per SKU to get it like tested and like quality tested for it. And they have a handful of like I don't think the BCAAs are specifically, but like a handful of their proteins are. And just like the thing is, every SKU they've ever like put in for it's got it. And so just the fact that like okay, well that their shit's pretty clean if they have NSF on some of their SKUs. I'm sure all their SKUs are legit. So
Yeah,
that's what's kind of nice too. It's like it's like actually high quality, like a high quality product. Corey knows what he's doing with supplements. So you trust the formulations and everything.
yeah, he's
Um,
been in the game since the supplement game's kind of been a thing.
he took a supplement company to whatever to fucking 9 figures. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, exactly.
the
Yeah,
dude's done a
sponsored
lot,
Tiger Woods. You know, his Tiger Woods' bag was his company.
dude. He
Like
yeah. Well,
what
like,
did
yeah,
that cost?
he got Arnold to partner with him on the supplement line, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's seems like that guy knows what he's doing.
Speaking of that, that's a good segue. I now that I'm like kind of got a lot of this other stuff that was going on in my life as far as like studying and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like been itching to get into more personal reading again. Because
Ah,
I was like in this space where I was like, man, like I've got so much information in my head that I don't want to lose that I like can't have any like outside fun reading in here because I was so
totally,
paranoid that I was gonna like forget this other stuff, right?
totally.
Anyways, and what I was getting at is I bought that Arnold book that he came out with not too long ago. Um, I would want to say maybe last year. Who knows anymore? Time flies so fast. It could have been longer. That Be Useful book that he came out with. It's kind of like one of those just kind of like maximized kind of type books. If I'm
Okay.
like kind of person, it's like one of the not like a self help book, but I guess maybe how those are like the
Yeah.
subtle art
Yeah.
kind of style. Anyways, I'm excited to read it now. I just found it again when I was moving some stuff around. I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to read this book for a minute because I just grew up being such a I don't know Arnold fanboy. I mean, look behind me. I got Arnold right here. You can't really see it, but I got movie posters up in my office even. So, anyways, I'm excited to read it. I'm
Dude, I
excited to
have
kind
a
of get into some personal reading again.
nice. I have a copy of Muscle and Fitness from August of 1984 that has Arnold on the cover.
Hell yeah!
I don't
It's
know
in the
where
spank
I came.
bank.
Yeah, I don't know where I came across this thing, but at some point in my life, I like this Muscle and Fitness from August of
Was that in the
1984.
office at CK? Was that in your
Yeah,
office? I think I remember that.
that's the month I was born, and
Oh,
so
that's
I was
right.
like,
That's
oh,
right.
I'm hanging on to this. It's cool. And then
Maybe it was a
but now
gift.
it's just like, yeah, I don't know where it came from, but now it's just like in my garage somewhere.
That's funny.
It's kind of fun. Yeah, dude, hang on
That
that
is
thing.
cool. What about you? What are you reading? Are you reading anything?
Actually, yeah, I just started this morning a new one. This book's called Nudge, and it's I mean, like I said, I just started it, but essentially the premise is we make a bunch of decisions based on where things are in our life, right? Like you can help yourself make better decisions just by setting things up differently. And so the example, the very first thing they talk about is essentially they did some lady was doing a study on school lunches, and she found that what the kids picked off the salad bar was based on the location of where the stuff was. And so, like, if the carrots were, at eye level or whatever, they would grab, like, people ate more carrots. And on that same token, if whatever, like, kind of junk food thing was on that level, the kids ate more of that, right? And
Huh.
so so then she kind of had
Which makes
this
total sense.
100%, right? And so she had this dilemma where it's like, well, so how do I arrange things now in the cafeteria? Do I place it so the healthier foods are in the spot where they're going to eat more of them? Well, I think for this situation, that'd be totally fine and a responsible thing to do. But then you have the thing of like, well, then that's kind of this like paternalistic thing. You're like, kind of like, but then if you don't do that and it's just a random, but what if there's one school, then these kids are getting better nutrition than another school? Or do you maximize like whatever company wants to like give you the best deals on the food, put their stuff so more of it gets eaten, right? And it's like, so, like, what do you do with that information? And this particular example is interesting because we're talking about it at a public school, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's different than if it's in a business. But it's like, do you do this to like somehow maximize profit or decrease costs, which then could funnel money into other parts of the schools? Or do you, set it up so the kids have the healthiest choices? But then are you now like engineering some part of their life that's like, is that really your job specifically? Whatever. Anyway, it's seems interesting. And so I don't know where else it goes. I mean, I can kind of imagine where else this goes. But I'm excited to kind of see. I'm actually really into it. Like I said, I'm only 4 or 5 pages in, but I'm excited to see like what else this leads to in different suggestions or things. Or I mean, potentially, who knows? Maybe I start doing some shit different in my life. Because
Yeah. Yeah. I'm normally like kind of always lean towards fiction. You know that. But
yeah,
I yeah, this year I'm gonna make it a point to kind of read more just kind of philosophy stuff. I've read a bunch of that kind of stuff too, but just
yeah,
that kind of that genre too. And mix in some fiction still here and there, but just not really in the mood. You just kind of go in ebbs and flows of like what you want to
that's.
read. It's just like
I usually kind of
I haven't
like.
really been into reading about fiction lately.
I usually kind of alternate. So right before this, I actually just read "The Sun Also Rises," like
Oh,
Hemingway,
classic.
classic,
Yeah.
classic
Yeah.
novel,
I have
whatever.
like an old like 1950s copy of that around here somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
probably one
it's
of your dad's old
crazy.
books.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I obviously didn't buy
Probably like
it.
it's probably like first edition something.
Yeah,
I know
probably.
he's all into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just read that. Now I'm on this. And yeah, I kind of alternate like usually kind of one a fiction book and then a more of a or like more of a I say nonfiction, more of like a self improvement or something I want to learn about, and then pair those. And then the other one's either some fictional book or even if it's nonfiction, but like a story, like more of like a novel style.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Anyways, I know people like hearing about what other people are reading. Someone
Well, I think everybody should probably read Win Your Next Hour.
yeah, obviously that too. Yeah. Yeah, where can you pick that up at?
Oh, Amazon. Just go Win Your Next Hour. Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. You obviously haven't read that one. You're just you're missing out. The yeah, so anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about it's kind of what you kind of we're in this space, we kind of need to talk about it. Um
People not going to the
this
CrossFit Games.
Yeah, this list of people not going. Yeah, good pick up there. We did not talk about this before off air, so you know exactly where I was going. And I got like a little list here of people so far that I think that have like confirmed that they're not going and have posted about not going. This is from
Right.
Reddit. This is from Reddit, everybody. So you know, don't fucking
Facts.
come for our throats if it's wrong. But we got uh, Elisa Fuliano, Emma Tall, Emma McQuaid, Annie Thorne's daughter, uh, Vellner, Chandler Smith, and Lazar's brother. So, with that, I don't know really what we want to talk about, but what is your
Oh,
opinion on their? I know everybody's got their own choices, their own decisions, but I don't know if you've read some of these posts that these people have made, or like a Vellner's even. Vellner's been a friend of the show. He's been on.
Yeah,
This is just, we're just talking about current state of the space and what people are saying. Um, I don't know. So what do you think about all of it?
man, I think that if these people are just done with the CrossFit Games because they're done competing in CrossFit, whatever, I think that if people are making this decision, um, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to speak. I don't get it, to tell you the truth. Like I don't get it. Don't get. I mean, obviously a guy died, and that's sad. I'm not saying it's not, but I mean, look, man. Like they all signed waivers. They all knew that was a possibility. The truth is, the fact that somebody just died for the first time this last year is more surprising to me than anything, right? I mean, talk about like that Murph in the sun in LA when it was like 140 degrees on the turf, down there, like stuff like that. And I mean, there's no question. I think every one of those people would admit to you that it's not a healthy pursuit, right? Like doing one workout a day, one CrossFit WOD a day is extremely healthy. Doing 12 workouts in 3 days, at that intensity and everything is not. Like it's not a thing they're doing for their health anyway. Like they're choosing to push their bodies to the limit for sport. And so I don't know. And so I think a lot of it might be like the way that it was handled by CrossFit and whatever. But again, like, what do you expect them to do? Like, they can't just cancel the rest of the entire weekend. I mean, maybe they could, but then we get into like whole TV contracts and different things like that. Like, you know, or like, okay, well, the report, are they not being as clear about the reports? Some people have said that type of thing, but like, what does that change? Like, what the fuck does that change? Say the report says, yeah, 100% CrossFit's fault. Dude drowned because there wasn't someone there to save him. Okay. So that sucks, but like, what's the difference between that or if it turns out that he did have a heart attack or something, right? Like, simple fact is like, guy died doing competition where the entire point is to push your body to limits that is impressive that a human can do these things. And so I guess that's just kind of where I'm at. I think that it's, if I'm being honest, I think it's a virtue signaling move more than anything else. But also, like, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, and I'm not,
Yeah, and that's in yeah.
I'm not saying this to talk down to those people at all, whatever. Like, if it's what they feel like they want to do, that's fine. But I just don't get it. Is the truth, the like bottom line.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as you there. I mean, I wouldn't even say pretty much. I'd say on the same page there. I I just don't. It's very easy to uh, look back and say things that maybe would have, should have been, or could have, would have, or should have happened, right? After it's all said and done, right? It's easy to do that.
Yeah.
Now, making those kind of decisions in the moment, in real time, all eyes on you. It's like, yeah, like some people aren't going to be super stoked on that, and those people have the right to not be okay with the decision. 100%.
Yeah.
That's their
Totally.
personal experience, their personal opinion, or what they saw or what they heard themselves. Like you can't do it. You cannot. That's just it is what it is. So yeah, I don't know what this helps by attacking the sport in a way, because some of these posts are a little aggressive, uh where it's just like, man, it's like, okay, but like where, like, what about all the other great times? What
Yeah.
about all the good times? What about all the
Yeah.
good things that it has done, and the platform it even gave you to stand on to make this
Well,
statement? Why are we
yeah.
just, because you got a little scratch now, or you got a little bit of your own thing going on that you built off the backbone of your success here, and now we're just gonna completely fucking jump ship when things go south a little bit? Like, that's not really fair. And
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of complaints and a lot of things said along the lines of like, oh, we've been our voices haven't been heard for a while. Yeah, maybe or maybe not that's true, but like what did you do about it then? You kind of kept showing up
That's
and kept letting things happen.
yeah. That's where
So that's
that's
on you.
I keep coming back to that too. And one of the things that someone said, I think might have been Bellner. He said, whatever. It's time that I put my money where my mouth is, basically, and like choose
Okay.
to walk away, right? But that's my entire thing. We talked about this. Like, that's fine. That's acceptable. I actually respect that a lot. But what I don't have time for is when you're saying, for years we've complained about these things and it's fallen on deaf ears. Well, like, I don't that means nothing to me because you didn't actually take action, And so
And it's also like we don't know what the extent of that even is, right? That's just all verbatim, right? Is that the right term?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just
It's all
like
hearsay, right?
it's all
But
hearsay.
yeah, but maybe it is true. Maybe they have been saying stuff and it's been whatever ignored or pushed aside. But you kept showing up competing, so it's not, And so if you choose not to this year because you have concerns about safety, then great. Honestly, like, that's fine. You know.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it goes into how much you've been paying attention to this World Fitness Project.
A decent amount. Decent amount.
So, I mean, that's a whole thing too, right? Where they got 20 males and 20 females that are signed up to do this thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
they're on more of like a salary based uh
yeah.
thing,
So I
which
don't know
is going
all
to
the I don't know all the details. There's some sort of like guaranteed payment situation,
for some
right?
people, I think. Yeah, I don't know if it's everybody, but I know like some of these faces of the sport. I'm sure there's going to
Mhm.
be some lower level people maybe involved, right? There's got to
Well,
be like other people.
so this is how it goes from my understanding. Man, we could actually. I know one of the guys that's behind this pretty well. Like, we could have him on the show, talk about it.
Yeah,
Maybe we
yeah,
should.
that'd be cool. That'd be
From what I
huge. Yeah,
understand, basically, is how it works is there's 30. It's in the competition. There'll be 30 men, 30 women in like the elite, and so the 20 of the elite men and 20 elite women are signed. Those are like the athletes that they've like gone out, reached out, agreed some sort of financial thing with, and signed. And then what happens is you have qualifying challengers. So they'll have like a qualifying event, and the top 10 men and top 10 women from that qualifying event will basically earn spots to compete side by side with the 20 pros.
that makes sense. Yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought.
So, and then, so actually, I think there's like 30,
Like
and
American
then there's
Gladiator
also
style.
the challengers, and there's like 20 qualifying men and 20 qualifying women that are in like the challengers division. So there's the pro division, which has the 20 signed men, 20 signed women, 10 qualifying challenger men, 10 qualifying challenger women. Then there's a challengers division, which is 20 men and 20 women, right? So you do the whatever, the online thing or whatever the hell, and then the top 30 basically qualify to compete. The top 10 compete against the pros. The spots 11 through 30 compete against each other in the challengers field. So, and then there's also age division and teams. 30 elite teams, 30 intermediate teams, 30 scaled teams, 10 male
Hey,
teams.
also like, hey, let's get rid of age division, like young age division. I'm not talking about like masters. I'm okay with masters, I guess. But
You don't
also
like the
like,
14 to 16, 17 to 19?
I just, dude, it's like what like that's not gonna that no one cares about that. It's a waste of time and resources. I think.
Interesting.
I really do. Like no one's
Yeah.
watching. I mean, maybe have it, but maybe don't like. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you should have it. I don't know. Maybe that might be just be like an unthoughtful take on it. I don't know. I just have zero interest in it. I don't know anybody that does unless it's their own child. It's like
I'll
no
tell
one
you,
cares about your kid's soccer game on Instagram. They also don't care about your kid competing in this event. You know what I mean?
I'll
Like
tell
I'm
you,
still going to post my
yeah,
kid doing baseball. I'm still going to post my kid doing soccer, but that's post for me, kind of for me to look at or whatever our family. But it's like,
yeah.
I just think it's a waste of resources. Like other sports don't do this. So why does fitness feel like they need to have all these divisions? Like there's not like I don't know, NBA, I guess they have like the G League or whatever, sure, but like I don't know. Maybe that's the same thing. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll tell you what's interesting is their masters categories. They just have 35 to 49 and then 50 plus.
God, the
Now,
difference
look,
between the 39 year
I'm
old and the
not coming
49
on
year
here.
old.
My plan wasn't to start talking shit on this World Fitness Project. I think it's super interesting that they're trying something different, doing something different. But man, Masters, I'll tell you what, man, the 36-year-old and the 49-year-old are going to be in a very different place.
Yeah, but also I kind of
But
like the
also, you know
fact that
what?
there's
They want to
not
have
too many
master categories.
500
Yeah,
divisions. Yeah,
yeah, more power to them. I
yeah.
do like paring down on divisions and stuff. Anyway, it's interesting. I'm interested to see kind of how this goes, how it shakes out. I
There
don't
is
see on
the
here.
there is the so I feel like the live golf is kind of running into this
Oh,
problem
I
right
get,
now.
want the rosters.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Women: Laura Hovrath, Olivia Kerstetter, Danny Spiegel, Lucy Campbell, Haley Adams, Paige Semenza, Danielle Brandon, Ariel Lowen, Emily Rolfe, Maddie Stewart, Bethany Flores, Emma Lawson, Sydney Wells, Amy Kringle, Mannion Anganese, Emma Tall, Emma McQuaid, Alexis Raptis, Brooke Wells, Alex Gazin.
Yeah, I mean that's everybody.
Men, exact men: Jeff Adler, Austin Hatfield, Noah Olson, Johnny Koski, Luca Dukic, Samuel Quant, James Sprague, Gui Maleros, Jay
Mm-hmm.
Crouch, Ricky Gerard, Bjorn Gudmundsson, Jason Hopper, Victor Hoffer, Chandler Smith, Dolan Pepper, Justin
Everybody.
Medeiros, Roman Krenikov, Travis Mayer, Jell Host, and Patrick Vellner.
Yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. Um, which is great that they got everybody on board. My only concern is
Interesting.
my only concern with it is if they're getting paid regardless, you tend to get a worse product. Now, what does that
Mm,
mean? I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But like you look at Live Golf right now, and
yeah.
yeah, there's clearly some guys that are still hyper competitive, but there's a lot of guys that got those big checks, and they're just out
Yeah.
there going through the motions because if they win or lose, they're getting paid, and that's just not what golf is. It's based off of performance based pay. Like if you perform well, you make money. If you don't perform well, you don't make money. So
Man,
getting
I'll tell
somebody
you what,
giving somebody
talk
money no matter how they're going to perform, I don't know if that gives you a better product.
talk about just going for the throat of CrossFit. Their online challenger qualifier 1 dates March 19th to March 25th. It's like right after the Open. Because the Open goes like the 27th, I think, is the first, and then 3 weeks after that, and then the boom next weekend online qualifier for this,
Well, what's funny though about that is
and then the first Lincoln schedule tour event 1, May 9th through 11th in Indianapolis, and then event 2, August 29th to 31st in Phoenix, and then December 18th to the 21st in Copenhagen,
okay.
Denmark.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, this is interesting for sure.
Oh, it's definitely interesting, and I'm gonna, whenever
It's
we
fucking
can kind of
ballsy,
figure
is
out
what
how
it
to
is.
watch it, I'll definitely watch it. I'll watch all of it. I really don't care like who's putting it out. I'll watch all of it. But I obviously everybody's going to be in their best shape going into the Open, so it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense to do it right after that because everybody's already in shape. Everybody's already in that qualification grind mode. So no matter what,
Sure,
that's probably the perfect time to do it. And I
sure.
think, you look at that list of people that aren't doing the Open, there's also a big list of people that are still doing the Open, right? There's
Right.
just,
How many of those people are doing? How many of those people are also doing the CrossFit Open?
I
Right.
think, majority of them is the right word. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. About that, everybody, I think more, at least from what I've seen, yeah, most people are still doing it. I think it's totally cool to have competition and have something else going on during the year. Just
Yeah.
having the CrossFit Games, like that doesn't need to be the case. I know there's
Yeah.
Wadapalooza, this and that, blah blah blah, but I think there's also room for something else like that. Sure, they want people want to compete more often, and have more opportunity to make this a career. That's how you do it. Is you have more competitions.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're
I
just
mean, it,
there just became this weird and there's weird entitlement where like people that do CrossFit now think that they have to be making a living from it. That's owed to
I,
them.
I
That's
mean,
a
look,
whole other
man,
problem.
if I'm thinking about it, or as I'm thinking about it, and I've said this before, but I would be ecstatic if CrossFit just like stops doing the games and focuses their efforts on the affiliates and getting more people in shape, man. And then let, people want to do the sport of fitness thing, great. Let them do it. You know, like what
Yeah,
does that detract from CrossFit, right? It doesn't. It's
I feel like, man, I agree with you, but I also feel like CrossFit they've gone too far. Where like they can't afford to lose the games now, even though they've created this monster that they evidently have just kind of skewed their path. But now that they kind of need this to, I think, legitify people paying them annually. I don't know. I feel like for some reason, if you remove the games, it hurts the brand.
hmm.
I think it's gone
I
too
don't
far. I
I
could
don't
be wrong.
know.
I'm also not a gym owner. So
Yeah.
that is from an outside perspective of not being an affiliate, for sure. So that's why you're here, though, also to kind of, um, what do you think on that? Do you think that that's the case or not?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that if you go into an affiliate, 9 out of 10 people in the affiliate don't give two shits about the open or about maybe it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. And, I mentioned there's a guy in my gym who kind of said his goal, right? Like his kind of like goal setting thing, whatever, is he wants to like do better at this year's open than he did last year's. But he made that goal because because it thinks it exists. If there was no open, there was no games, then he'd have something else to drive him. I think that and the people out there in the streets, the people who don't have any gym membership, the people that aren't members at affiliates, they definitely don't give a shit about the CrossFit Games. So
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know who the CrossFit Games are serving. I guess is my question. Like, who benefits from there being the CrossFit Games? Now talk about Glassman, like the idea of it being a big party. It's like, come together, let's come together and see what these fucking animals are. These guys that are they're beasts, right? Like, what are they capable of? See what these people are capable of that are
Yeah,
at this
it was.
extreme level of fitness, right?
Yeah,
But like,
who's the top dog at your local gym? Let's see what they got.
yeah, but that's like not the thing anymore.
That's not
And
what it is anymore.
it's interesting because
Hasn't been that for a long time. But
yeah, we've seen it happening where, a year ago I was saying, well, you know what, when you go to local competitions, they're still selling out and all. That's not the case anymore. This last year, at least over here, and we're in the kind of hotbed of CrossFit. Like, there are a lot of gyms in this area, a lot of competitors in this area.
yeah,
But I
NorCal
mean, dude,
general.
talk about, CrossFit competitions, local events, like struggling to get signups. Like, they're not, it's funny, just like a year ago, they're all selling out. And then like now they're not, you know?
Yeah, we were just on here talking about how it's funny
Gold,
how the local scene is
yeah,
crushing it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like we don't see any um, downsizing in that perspective. But now it's came for them too.
Yeah. Now, in gyms, again, you go into a gym, the gym still got people in there working out, doing CrossFit, all that, but it's just the events, like the local CrossFit competitions, seem to be struggling. Um,
Yeah,
so
we know
that's,
some big events around here that have been, marquee events with cash prizes, like legit cash prizes that were essentially begging for signups last minute so they could do the event, which has never been the case. Usually those events sell out months before they happen.
yeah,
And that was kind of weird to see.
yeah. So, I don't know.
The CK
I
Invitational, has always never really had problems with signups, but I mean, if we would try to do it this year, like I would have been curious to see what could have potentially happened.
I'd be
Probably would have
nervous
been in
about
that
it for
same boat.
sure.
I'd be nervous for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be like the worst nerves about that competition, trying to do it this year for sure, especially with coming off of the controversy from the games and just everybody's mindset. Now you also just there's just also I don't know, Danny. Do you think people also have just gotten a little too pretentious about what their competitions are doing these days? It's like everybody feels like they need to qualify for Wadapalooza or like another event, so they like stop doing these local events. The people that actually compete, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know,
It's like, oh, I got to do this
I don't
online
know, man.
qualifier for this, so I can't do the fun event that I used to do my whole existence in the sport. Now I got to do this online qualifier for X, Y, Z.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's it, right? Like I know for sure, like in my gym, I know there was people doing the online qualifier for NorCal Classic, right? Like I
Yeah,
saw people
yeah,
doing the workouts, right?
yeah.
So maybe, yeah, is maybe that kind of it. That I think that you get you have these events that are people who are interested in competing. Are they spending their energy, on online qualifiers, trying to qualify for these bigger events? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
it's
what,
just
man.
it's
Like,
probably just a combination of all of it at the end of the day, right?
yeah,
The answer's
yeah.
always in the middle, like everything
The
else.
answer is always in the gray. It's always the gray area. It's
Yeah,
all the truth is always in the middle somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah, man. I don't know. Dude, I just see like the good things that happen in the gyms that have nothing to do with the competitions. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for
dude,
sure.
I had this lady in my gym. She's been going since September. She's like, hey, dude. She's like, oh, hey, Danny, I want to tell you. Just like weighed in the other day, whatever. Anyway, she's like, I've lost 50 pounds. And I was like, what? And like, she for sure has lost some weight, but I'm thinking, and then I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, totally. Like when she started coming here, she was for sure like bigger. And
It's
then,
also
and then it's been
you've
like,
seen it steadily falling off too.
oh, I didn't
You
notice
didn't,
day to day.
yeah,
Right. And then, but then I actually thought about it. And then it was funny that I actually saw a picture of her, like when she started, I'm like, oh yeah, dude, like totally. Like she had like her midsection stuck out further. It was like stick out further than her shoulders type thing. Right. And now
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
like now, like her shoulders are stick out further. And you know what I mean? Like her chest sticks
yeah,
out further than her stomach when she started
yeah,
out. You know what I mean? Like it's like she went from being an apple shape when she came into us. Right. Or a pear shape, whatever. And now she actually has like, curves, right? Like a regular,
yeah.
like a healthy person's body.
Her desired goals are being met.
Yeah. And I was like, that's awesome, And then, and also the rate of it, like it was like, oh, over 5 months, we got 10 pounds a month, like totally healthy rate for someone that has that much weight to lose. So then
Yeah, that's how you actually keep weight off too.
right,
Not
did it
these
through
crash
exercise and
diet.
diet.
Yeah, not these crash liquid diets.
So here we go. That's what this going to. Then she tells me a couple days later, or it was about a week later, she goes, hey, I've been so excited to see you. I want to tell you, I told you I lost 50 pounds. Well, then a few days later, she ran into an old friend, and this person hadn't seen her since she was at her heaviest. And they said, oh man, you look great. Are you on Ozempic?
Uh,
And she goes, she said, no, I'm not. I'm on CrossFit. You want to come with me? Like you should come. Right?
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but that's the whole thing. Like that's the whole point. Is like that's what I see. Like I see that shit going on. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? Dude, we got a kids class. I look over at the kids class and they're deadlifting, and it's like my 12-year-old daughter like deadlifts 110 pounds, like stood up there like it was an empty barbell. And I was like, oh man, sandbagging, like put some weight. But like these types, and like she was so proud. Like she was so like proud of it. And I kind of want to pull her off the side and be like, look, Maddie, that's not really, I saw how fast that bar went. You don't have anything to be proud of yet, hon. Like, let's get some, let's rack some more on there
Let's
first.
get some more weight.
And anyway, and I mean, that's dude. And then, I mean, my youngest daughter deadlifted 70 pounds. She was 7 years old. And she was like, telling me like favorite part of the day. She's like, oh, doing that deadlift. Like it's her favorite part of the day. Like they're proud of what they can do, And
Yeah, you don't get that with the Ozempic.
You don't get that with Ozempic. And like, so like, that's the stuff, right? Like that's these are the types of things. Dude, this lady, again, I mean, this happens, we've gone all day. This lady comes in after 1 week. She tells me, she's like, hey, I've got a monitor on because I have type 1 diabetes, whatever. And my A1C, whatever, like I was always averaging, I was always like 6.2. Like I was kind of like where I always was. 1 week of coming to class here and doing what you told me nutrition wise. And like now I'm at like 5.6 or 5.4 steady. And it's funny, like I don't really know exactly what those numbers mean, but what I do know is a 10 down. To 20% increase in the right direction is a positive thing.
Right? Yeah,
in
in a short period of time.
in a week. And she's like, yeah, and my blood glucose level is just steady all day. I don't have these like peaks anymore. Like my blood's, I haven't seen my blood sugar this steady like since I can remember.
Yeah, and
And
eventually she could probably get off of it entirely.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Is
type
she type
ones, you
2?
know,
Oh, she's type 1.
type one,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't hear that. Oh, yeah, I
But
misheard that. Oh,
yeah,
never mind.
but
Never
type
mind.
two, absolutely. Anyway, and so it's like these are the things like, and dude, all of those stories are literally from the last week. Like that's like a 1 week in an affiliate that you get these things happen. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like I'm seeing this, and I'm like, man,
This is
you
what
know,
actually matters.
yeah, I don't give two shits about the games, man. I want CrossFit to be getting more people into affiliates, and then more people fall in love with CrossFit, and they'll open more affiliates, and then get more people into those, right? Like, dude, town I live in, or not that I live in, the town where my gym's in, there's 80, 85, 90,000 people now. And like, we're the only CrossFit affiliate in town. It's nuts. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that town could support like 3 or 4 legit, like good gyms, you know?
Well, it's good for
But
you
it's like,
that there's not.
yeah,
I
it's
got nowhere
fine.
else to go. Uh,
Yeah, I don't care. I want there to be more, dude. I'd be stoked
no,
if
yeah, for sure.
someone
It's
opened
good
up
for,
another gym, you
yeah,
know?
the more gyms there are, more people who know about CrossFit, the better it is for everybody. Right?
Yeah, as long as you're
Rising
doing more
tide,
options.
what do they say? Rising tides, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so that's I mean that's my whole thing about the CrossFit Games, man. Like I got nothing against it. They're fun to watch. I like the people, and you know what I mean, like all that. But I mean, look, man, if it's
It's
not,
hemorrhaging money also, right? Like,
yeah, if it's not working, it's not working. You know?
yeah. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe the answer is finding someone else to step in to fill that void of competitive fitness. Maybe that's the answer. So then, yeah, like you said, that CrossFit HQ can focus on the gyms because that's what they are. They're affiliates,
Yeah.
they're memberships. That's what the brand is. The sport came after. Let someone else deal with the sport. You focus on the message.
So I
But
thought
then
they were going to
that's a
do.
whole other rabbit hole, though, right?
Yeah.
Now we're looking
I
at
thought they were
like
going to do
who
that with
owns it
Loud and
now.
Live. I thought that Loud and Live, when they took over Wadapalooza and stuff, I thought that they were going to basically get contracted by CrossFit and that they were just going to run the games. Like that was my like hot take. That was my, but that I ended up being wrong about.
Well, you were right on what the intentions were, but then they held that event in LA and 7 people went, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't worth it."
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's pretty
Hmm.
much how it probably went down. It's like, "Oh yeah, we'll test it out, do these regional events, see how it goes," and it went about as bad as it possibly could. And
Yeah,
then they got out.
yeah. And so yeah, and so yeah, maybe there is still a CrossFit. Yeah, I don't know, man. But like, you gotta at some point. Right now, what they're doing is they're funneling money from the good works that CrossFit does into something that I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not really.
I
It's
don't
not
know if this
moving. It's not
works.
moving the. It's not moving the needles, and it's not moving the message. The
Now,
games isn't
for
moving
sure,
the needle or the message.
we for sure had people come in and sign up because they watched the CrossFit Games on TV, right? But the percentage of people that is very small. You know,
Exactly. Exactly. And yeah, maybe it made more sense. Like they in their heads, like, oh, we got to get these ESPN contracts, and it's going to be so popular, mass, exposure. This is going to be great for the affiliates, and like that just ended up just not really being true.
right, right,
You know what I mean? It
yeah.
didn't really help. Um. Anyways, on that note, um, yeah, we'll see what happens. That's all we can do is kind of just, you know, when's that first event you said, for the
World
WFP?
Fitness Project.
Yeah.
May. Well, the online qualifiers in March, and then May in Indianapolis.
Okay. So yeah, not too far. Yeah. I'm curious to see how it goes down. I hope them the best. I think it's going to be, could be cool. Um, yeah.
Yeah, you hope that I'm not know what their situation is, what their plan is, whatever. But I'd imagine they're relying on online qualifier to get entry fees to use for funding for the. I mean, I don't know what these athlete contracts look like or what they're paying them.
Clearly
I don't
there's got
know
to
if
be
it's
some
like a
kind of,
share.
yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Like they're getting a cut. Like how did they get all these people to sign up? Are they getting a percentage based deal, ownership style deal? Or is there some kind of huge, backing financially for this thing from some source? I haven't really heard the details
or
on that.
Or they might just be get a percentage of, from the online qualifier, right? Hey, you get the online qualifier, and then that's basically what CrossFit's doing, right? And yeah, you do online qualifier, and then just whatever. Like if you're one of the pros, like you're guaranteed, right? Like you're going to get whatever percentage, or maybe you get first place. You get 10% of the money from the online qualifier. Or is it golf style? Do you start at 20%, or you run out of percentage at that point? But so yeah, you go like 10% for the first place, and then 7% for second, and then whatever 10 through 20 all get 1% of the prize pool, or of the
Yeah, I don't know.
entrance,
I just
something
don't
like
get.
that.
I just what I guess what I don't understand is where is the signing bonus money coming from? Like where's that basically that upfront money coming from to even show up?
Well, you don't know there is, right? Like it might be.
Oh, well, I heard there is. I heard some numbers being floated around on other podcasts or what some of these guys are getting paid, like before they even starts. So they're getting some kind of compensation, uh, just to
Yeah.
sign, just to sign. Like they're basically signing. Like, hey, signed. Noah Olson signed. Like that means like
Right.
they're getting money just to show up. It's like where's that coming from? I
Right.
guess. I guess is more
Yeah.
my. I don't know the answer
Yeah.
to
I don't
that,
know.
but
I don't
that
know.
was a.
I don't know the finance. I don't know the inside of it. Man, if I would have known we were going to talk about this, I would have talked to my buddy. I would have talked to my friend who's involved in it a lot more and got all these details, and
Oh, it
then
would just
come
be for
on
next
here
time.
and just aired their dirty laundry out.
Yeah, this is just the tip of the info
I'll talk
wars.
to them and I'll dig deep and I'll find all the information that they're trying to keep private, and I'll come on here and blast it out. That's how you keep friends.
Yeah, that's how you keep friends. That's how you keep sources.
Yeah. All right,
Anyways,
man, we did it. We got one in this week.
got one in episode 174, guys. Yeah, let us know your opinion on all this in the comments. And yeah, we'll see what happens.
There it is. All right. Till
All right,
next
everybody.
week.
Yep. See you.